for watching Dro TV. Welcome back to the CannaBiz show. Today we're joined by Tomas from Budsbie Media, the most underrated cannabis media brand. Tomas.
Self-proclaimed.
Well, nonetheless, thanks for coming on
Thanks for
the
having
CannaBiz
us.
show.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and I appreciate you guys coming out to the Budsbie studio today.
Yes, thanks for inviting us here. This is going to be great. Our inaugural episode, so we're really excited about that. We've been following your company. You guys make great content. Tell our audience a little bit about Budsbie Media and what you guys do for the cannabis community.
Absolutely. So Budsbie Media is basically a media brand, and our whole entire goal is just to help change the stigma of the cannabis industry and its users. So we do that through content, educational content, entertaining content, just visually appealing, anything that we can do through content right now to help change that stigma and just allow people to see cannabis and the people that use it in a different light than what they've typically been accustomed to, is what we're all about. And it's been a grind so far, but it's been fun.
Awesome. How did you guys come up with the idea for Budsbie Media, and what's a little bit of your background?
So Budsbie Media came about, I started Budsbie Media. There's two answers. So there's the, I guess, philosophical answer of, Budsbie Media, I want to help change the stigma on the plant and its users. That's, one main reason why I started Budsbie. But prior to that, my background was video productions. I started a video production agency called TMS Productions in 2019. And I was just doing kind of commercial work for any company, any brand, focusing on the cannabis industry, but it was just any commercial type of work, and that was the very beginning of that production business. So what I was trying to do was ultimately trying to get clients, and I knew that in order to get clients, and specifically in the cannabis industry, I had to do free work, and I had to show people what I could do because I had no prior, experience in this industry with these types of products, and nobody was seeing my work. So I had to put something out there, and ultimately when I started putting that reaching out to brands and saying, hey, I'll do this free work for you, I was doing that, and then I realized quickly after that, if I do this and the brand likes it but they never contact me back, then I made this piece of content and it's great, and it was hoping that somebody would hire me from it. But at the end of the day, if they didn't, then it did nothing for me. It really only helped the brand that I made it for free. And for me, I was just sitting there just trying to do that again with another one, hoping that they would hire me. So that's when I decided that basically all the free content I was making for these brands, I was going to build a media brand out of it and put all that content under that. So when I'm offering free work to companies, to try to get them to be my clients, if I did it and they liked it or they didn't like it or whatever, when I was done doing that, that was another piece of Budsbie content that I knew was going to eventually build a huge library of content that would bring value. I'm building a brand now rather than just hoping that this piece of content just gets me a client. So that's kind of why Budsbie was started so quickly, because before I started my video production agency, I knew that ultimately I wanted to just get paid and just make a living doing the content that I wanted to create. As fun as it is, making commercials for brands that they want me to make, for bongs or whatever weed it might be, it's still the content that they want me to make. It's not something that I'm passionate about, that I'm, want to educate or do something greater with that piece of content. So Budsbie, even though it wasn't called Budsbie in my head, was always a goal, in a sense of just getting paid and making a living to create and just make the content that I feel like making. this whole thing really started in high school when I took TV productions classes, and I had so much fun just making videos with my friends. You know, they put us in a group, we'd have to do a little project, and it was just so much fun just being in it, editing it, putting it together, that out of high school, that's really what I wanted to do. I just wanted to go in the Hollywood industry and just make movies with my friends. So, you know, through trial and error, making, you know, content for businesses and working for small businesses and starting my own, it really just kind of naturally merged into, you know, Budsbie and what it is now. And now, you know, it started from trying to get clients from TMS Productions, and I don't know if it was just that I wasn't getting hired by those companies I was creating, but eventually I built up so much content for Budsbie that Budsbie really overshadowed anything that I was trying to get for TMS Productions. You know, I saw the value bigger for Budsbie than what I could do for brands, just, you know, making custom videos for them. So once I noticed that, I really switched focus, and I said, okay, I'm not out here looking for client work, you know, to make these brands commercials and all that. I'll do that still if the, you know, if the price is good enough, but that's not my goal. I want to say it was at least 6 months ago that when we really doubled down and focused 100%, like, we're not going to advertise, you know, client, you know, video agency work. It's just Budsbie. Because I really think that in the long term, that's what's really going to provide value to what's in the long term. It's what I really think is going to help accomplish the mission that I have, which is to help change the stigma. I don't think I'm going to necessarily get there by just creating commercials for brands.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So now you've got this incredible portfolio under Budsbie of all these different videos you've made, commercials, everything else. What kind of client work do you do? Any kind of client work now? And how can somebody reach out to you, and what type of work, I guess, are you taking on?
So we do client work, you know, if a brand needs a commercial or whatever, and it's, you know, convenient for us, or, you know, the budget is right, we'll do it. But it's not something that I'm out there advertising or looking for, offering to people, because it really does take my time away from Budsbie and what I can do for Budsbie. A lot of the brands that we talk to, you know, they might want a melt shot or a commercial or something that I can also do through Budsbie, and it would cost them a third of the price. So when I do custom work for brands, it's at least 3 times the price, because I get nothing out of it. At the end of the day, they pay me, I give them the project, and they use it for their own marketing, and that's it. I'm not posting it on Budsbie, or it doesn't have my logo. It really doesn't help me at all. So that's why even when brands do want their own custom stuff, I try to, in a sense, see if I can save them money, and see if I can do it in a collaborative way through Budsbie, because, you know, a lot of times it's just the Budsbie logo might be at the very end of the video or in a little corner, but the video is exactly what they wanted for themselves. And they have full distribution rights, so they can use it on their social media. They can use it exactly how they wanted to use their own commercial, except it's a lot cheaper, and, you know, it's a collaboration with Budsbie because our logo's in it. But we do client work if needed. But it's, like I said, it's not something we focus on, just because it doesn't, I don't feel like it helps my goal of helping change the stigma. There are some brands that do great work, and a lot of the marketing that they do is tailored towards changing the stigma or educating. But there's a lot that just want, you know, just cool lifestyle shots or whatever it might be, or close-ups of their weed, and that's great. That's awesome. I do think that it does help kind of change the stigma, seeing you know, the products in a high quality manner rather than just a cell phone picture of it. But with Budsbie, we're trying to do a lot more than just kind of showing products and showing the newest strains, or, you know, what players just came into the market. That's really not what we're about. It's great seeing, you know, companies coming from California and, you know, the state starting to expand, and all that is great. But we're beyond that. I don't care who grows the best weed, who has the best concentrates. If you're wanting the world to have a different perception of cannabis and the stigma of the people that smoke it or use it, that's then we align, and that's what I care about.
Yeah, that's it's very admirable because you guys do put out like top-notch, high-quality content. So I'm sure you could do those commercials all day and make a decent living. And but again, it comes back to what your goals are, which are trying to destigmatize this plant. And we're all, all of us in this cannabis community hopefully have a similar goal. Can you talk a little bit more about working with brands and building relationships for some of our audience that may be in the content creation space?
Yeah. I mean, starting out, the same thing that I did for TMS Productions, just reaching out to brands and offering free work. That's the way I started. I think if you don't have anything, that's the best way to go about it. It's literally just hop on Instagram DMs or whatever it may be, email, cold emails, whatever it has to be. Just you have to reach out to the companies, and you have to offer them something of value. You can't just say, hey, I'd like to do something for you. What can I help you with? Because at that point, it puts it on them to have to try to think of something that they want you to do. And if you can, the least amount of work that you can make brands do to work with you, I think that helps that goes a long way in, getting that job, because you have to come with an idea or something that you think that brings value to them. If you don't do that, then you're going to be able to get work if you just put the time in to reach out to enough people, but your conversion rate, I think your chances get improved a lot if you actually put just a little bit of thought in, like, okay, how can I actually bring value to this brand? So yeah, that's something that I do with Budsbie. I don't really like to reach out to companies to partner or sponsor our content or work with, unless I genuinely think that our brands kind of align and that I can bring value to them and they can bring value to us.
Today, everybody with a Instagram account and a cell phone is a content creator. So again, if anyone just goes to your page, they can tell the difference between, somebody posting random dab hits and, the type of content that you guys provide. Educational posts, analyzing stoner movies. What's the inspiration behind the content you do create? And is there like a process you can walk us through when you guys come up with ideas? And
there isn't a set process, honestly. The ideas just come to me. I write as many ideas that come to me down as possible. That way I don't forget them and I can go back and look at them. But I never sit down and say, okay, let me think of some ideas. They never come like that. It's always when I'm doing something completely random or just having conversations with people. For example, when we made our beginner's guide to cannabis flower, literally that came from a friend or a person that we knew, that we found out they store their weed in a plastic bag outside on their porch where the sun hits it, and it turned brown. And it was like, okay, I have to make a video for those types of people. And it wasn't somebody that never smoked weed before, doesn't know anything about it. They consider themselves stoners or, potheads, and they're storing their weed in a plastic bag in the sun, and it looks and smells disgusting. So even though a lot of us that smoke might not think of themselves as beginners, there's still so much information and so much new information that's, been discovered and released in the past few years, that just, if you learn those few little things, it makes your experience as a cannabis user a lot better. And that's not just for people that have been smoking before, it's for new people too. I want people that are just going to try it for the first time to have the right information, so when they do try it, they have a good experience, or at least not a bad experience. I hate it when people get really high their first time doing something that they shouldn't have been doing. Too much of an edible or whatever it may be. They smoke too much, and then they have a completely negative perception of cannabis and say, no, it's not good. I don't like it. But it's basically as if they were just blackout drunk their first time ever trying alcohol. And it's like, of course you're not going to like that. Like, you threw up and it sucks and you feel like shit the next day. So that's what I'm trying to avoid with cannabis. So that's where the inspiration comes from for a lot of our educational stuff. For as far as like entertainment, entertaining type of content, a lot of that just comes from getting inspiration from outside of cannabis. You know, I watch a lot of YouTube, I watch a lot of content, and I actually don't watch much cannabis content at all. I scroll on I scroll on Instagram and see like the quick stuff that people might post, but as far as like sitting down and watching YouTube content that's cannabis, I don't do that. So I just watch random stuff, and then I get ideas from that and how to kind of apply it to cannabis. And there's really no process. It just kind of comes to me, and then you just got to make it happen. It's not. I think a lot of people think that there's some secret to it, or like, you know, this whole process that is really thought through and, you know, set out before you start to do anything. But no, you just offer people to do stuff you've never tried before, and then, you know, if it's free, you're doing it for free. There's no pressure, you know. So if you're getting paid, then that's when the pressure kicks in. But if you're just trying something, just do it for free, and, you know, see how that works. And that's kind of our philosophy in a sense. When there's a new series or a new type of idea that we want to build out into, you know, multiple episodes, we'll just try one, and then we'll see what it looks like. And if it looks good and people react to it well, we'll just keep doing more. And I like to think in terms of series and like pieces of content that I can make multiple episodes of. That way it's not just a constant like, oh, I have to keep thinking of new ideas and new concepts. And no, I think of a concept, and then I think of, okay, well, that concept can be, you know, applied to this person and this person, this person, this person. And that's, you know, a series with 5 episodes. So that takes a lot of the energy away from having to just constantly think of brand new stuff.
Yeah, I've found the YouTube and Instagram scrolls can be beneficial for, you know, oh, here's an idea I can make better, or here's something I like the way this guy did it, but maybe if you did it this way, you'd have a different result. Yeah. And sometimes watching somebody else do something or see how somebody else applies what they do, you know, can bring those ideas to the forefront as well.
Yeah.
Recently, your Budsbie business page on Instagram had been taken down. This was temporarily?
Yeah.
Okay. What happened there?
I don't think anybody really knows what happens when that happens.
So it was just
a lot of people have ideas.
Just a random.
Yeah. No warning. No, we didn't get a post taken down and then our account got taken down. It was just out of the blue. We couldn't log in. Then we got an email saying we had to confirm our identity. So I had to send a picture with me holding me holding a sign with my name and just some information. And then we just kind of sat there and waited and just didn't really know what to do. They basically, after we did that process, they were like, okay, well, we're going to look into it and let you know. But then nothing happened. So I don't know what the cause of it was. A lot of people, when they get taken down, they think it's people reporting them. They think it's a lot of things. I can't say that it's one specific thing. I have no idea. Instagram and these social media platforms seem to be that way. It's just kind of random, and it doesn't seem like there's any system or logical way of how they do things as far as in this industry.
Yeah.
So yeah, and
it's back up now. The page is back up.
Yeah, it's back up. And then while we were waiting, I think it was a week after, and at that point we were like, okay, let's transition our Budsbie memes page, which is kind of, when I built that, it was intended to be our backup page. Sure. But I don't like when people just create backup accounts and just post the same exact content on there. So that's where all our memes go. And we were about to turn that page into just the Budsbie page. And then I just filled out the form on the Instagram page one more time saying that our account got taken down, wrote a little message saying, you know, we never got any warnings. We never got any, you know, anything, any violations. So I think this is a mistake. And I think the day after we got an email saying it was back up. So it's just, I have no idea, and I don't really care to investigate or figure out the reason why. I'm just going to continue to do what I can do, which is keep making more content. At the end of the day, it's like, I don't feel a slave to Instagram or these platforms, because all the content that I'm posting isn't, you know, stories content or things that I'm making, you know, with my phone that I post on Instagram and just stay there forever. Right. It's content I'm making it with my computer, on my camera, stuff like that, edited, and then I upload it to Instagram. So I still own all that. I still have all that content, all that footage, all the IP. I own it. Instagram doesn't own it. So as long as I still have that, and I can, you know, Budsbie.com is being built right now to have all our content, and in the future, that's not right now. It is a kind of a risk to our business in a sense, because, you know, most of our eggs are in Instagram, but it's not something that I think that will ruin us if we get our account taken down. It's just, we'll just post all the content we did up until now all over again on the new page, and we'll just get all brand new engagement with them with that new content. And, you know, I think what people forget in a sense is that they think that when their Instagram is gone, like they're gone. But like when you're on Instagram and you're building followers, building a brand, impacting people, actually connecting with people, they remember you. They remember your brand. They remember, like, so just because your account gets deleted doesn't mean you die. You, like, people just completely forget about you. Like, yeah, you're not going to have those followers, and, you know, it's going to take some time to rebuild it or whatever. But at the end of the day, your reputation is still there. You know, reputation is way more important than your Instagram account. So I focus on that. I focus on doing the right thing, you know, fulfilling my promises to our sponsors, our partners, you know, and if I just do that, I know that the rest is going to get taken care of.
Yeah, that's a great point. People need to remember that they still exist outside of these platforms, yeah. and there's, in most cases, probably never going to be an answer why someone was taken down. It could have been an algorithmic accident. Yeah. And pushing the subject further could put you on the radar where this guy's causing a problem, and let's look at him further, and let's pay more attention to him. Let's flag him. And, so yeah, sometimes it's best to just let things lie the way they are, and you know, put your head down and keep working on what you're doing.
And I mean, honestly, I don't know if this has anything to do with it, but I do see a lot of people, you know, posting on their Instagrams things that are illegal. You know, it's like, yeah, we work in cannabis, so it's all kind of like a gray area. We're all doing something federally legal, but you can still, you know, create content or what, you know, do things that are legal. I mean, you know, I see videos of people smoking in the car all the time, and it's like, that's cool, but, you know, good for you. But, you know, Instagram might see that and be like, okay, well, they're smoking weed in the car. I don't know, like, what they look at or what it is, or, you know, they know you just posted a story of a California weed bag and your location is in Florida or whatever it might be. You know, it's things that we don't take a risk with those types of things. So I think that's why we haven't really had any issues up until that one time, which is why I think it's just completely random. But I don't know. I feel like it's something to kind of just be cautious over. Just don't rat on yourself doing illegal stuff on the internet.
Yeah, and be prepared in a situation like you said. The Budsbie memes page was a second page, but act as a backup in the event of. And luckily it was only a few days before you were back up and running. So you didn't have to resort to that, but be prepared. You know, don't rely on one medium, and We're working on an email newsletter,
Yeah.
and because if we're stripped from all of our platforms, at least I can still email somebody and
Exactly.
reach out to them that way. So, you got to be creative, and when you're at the behest of these big companies, it's out of your control, really.
Yeah. Yeah. You got to play by their rules in a sense, but if you don't subscribe to their, I don't even know how to say it, just like their power, you don't. So I recognize that they have power. They, in a sense, own. If I'm thinking of followers as email subscribers, they own all my email subscribers in a sense. They can take them all away. But, like I said before, I own all the content. I own all the IP. They can take my Instagram page away, but I still own Budsbie. So it's, I use those tools to help me and my mission and what I need to do. Instagram helps me reach people and, put my content in front of people. But at the end of the day, my Budsbie and the business that I'm building is way bigger than Instagram or any platform that my content will ever be on. Right. It's not going to be ever, tied down to one specific platform or anything like that. I want to make sure that, nobody can really have leverage over me when it comes to creating, the stuff that I want to create.
Can you share any techniques or strategies for our audience as far as social media marketing techniques, or maybe some do's or don'ts that maybe you see other content creators doing where maybe you don't think that's the most professional, or something that a brand would maybe not respond to your DM if they saw you doing something?
That's a good question. As far as marketing, Budsbie doesn't necessarily market. I can't really think of us as marketing ourselves that much. We just create content and try to, do what we do. But what has worked for us as far as getting our name out there, and really when we've noticed a big uptick in followers and people coming to us, is when we collaborate with people. Whenever we feature somebody new on our videos, or work together to create a video and post it, and we both kind of cross promote it, we've noticed that always brings in the biggest amount of followers, because I think you're spreading your network, and you're not just putting out a piece of content, working really hard on a piece of content and putting it out there and just hoping that people find it. There's somebody else there helping you push it, because they're on it too, so they want their people to see it. Sure. And that, their circle sees it, and their circle is now exposed to you. And if you just do that with 10, 20 people, that, almost like Facebook, your mutual friends in a sense, just expands, but with an audience. What not to do when creating content, like I said, I just wouldn't really be showing many illegal activities on your page, because any brand that sees that is going to know that that's going to reflect on them. It might get them in trouble. I don't know. Every brand is different, but some, I think, look at that.
Maybe I wouldn't say call anybody out, but we touched on illegal things, but
Yeah.
Is there anything that you wouldn't do on your own channel, or anything you wouldn't post on your own channel, aside from smoking in a car?
Yeah. So, at this point, people kind of know we're in Florida. So, we do work with brands outside of the state. So we travel to California. We've worked with brands in California and stuff like that. And we're still able to do that. But, I wouldn't reach out to a California cannabis brand and say, hey, let me create this video for you. Just send me the product, or, I'll get the product, and then I'm going to shoot it on this beach here. It's like, people can tell you have a product from California and you're shooting it at the beach in Florida or whatever it may be. That's the stuff that we avoid. It doesn't make any sense. I'd rather just shoot it on a black background and no one knows where that was shot. Right. But I don't know if we want to say that. I kind of just told on myself.
Yeah. No, so yeah, be mindful, be aware of where you are and what you're doing.
I mean, for example, in Florida, home grow is not allowed. So if you're showing on your story or videos of your plants at home in your closet, like that's probably not going to make dispensaries in Florida want to work with you because, not only are you probably not buying their product, you're also, doing something that is illegal and you're broadcasting it. And, just keep it on the down low. It's not like the people that are in this industry, it's not like we're afraid of doing things that are against the law. If you've been in this long enough, then you've broken the law just by smoking weed. Right. And you're breaking it federally right now. So it's not about that. It's just be smart with it. Right. Don't tell on yourself.
Right. Yeah. And going back to what you said, building relationships, whether it's someone like yourself and myself or a brand or a company, they're going to look at your page and see what your engagement and your following is and, what type of content you're posting. And I think if everybody wants to do dab videos and post dab videos, like by all means, do you. But if the last 10 posts are just you doing dab videos, then a brand or some company is probably not going to be that interested in working with you. So, all these things like, it's being professional without, coming across like you're just, Dabby 2 Joe. And
there's a balance, because so for us, we want to help change the stigma, and there's kind of like there's a war on two fronts that we're kind of fighting. We're fighting the people that are, pro-prohibition and want it to be illegal no matter what. They hate weed. And then we're also kind of fighting the stigma that stoners, in a sense, have created for ourselves of being lazy and being, just tie-dye everything and Rasta colors on everything, weed leaves on everything. It's like, that's cool and all, but that's not how I am. But then on the other side, you have what people call chads, which are the super corporate-y types, never smoked weed, or literally in it just for, the money, and because they just see a new industry and that's all they care about. So for us, we're kind of like in the middle. It's like we're not the chads, the corporate types that, are only in it for the money, but we also want to kind of get away from that lazy, stoner stereotype that has been built up, not just by us and stoners themselves, but just by Hollywood and other people that have been against it and showing that stereotype in a negative way. And we just kind of accepted it as like, oh, that's funny. But it's like, it makes us look bad. So that's kind of what we're trying to do is, that.
Anything else you want to talk about or mention?
One of the things, I guess, so it's not just what content creators can do to attract brands. It's also on the brands themselves to put in a little bit of work and, do a little bit of due diligence on the people that they're hiring to create content for them, what they're going to be creating for them, because that really does is like represent your brand a lot. Whoever you're choosing to create content for you will, bring their reputation to your brand. So if you don't like what they're making, if you don't want that to represent your brand, then, don't collaborate with those types of creators. But it's on both sides. I think a lot of brands are also looking at analytics only and not looking at the actual quality of the creators that, might be reaching out to them or that they might be looking at. They might only see, 5,000 followers or whatever it might be. Somebody else has 100,000. But the engagement is completely different. You might get more sales from the person with 5,000 followers than the one with 100,000, just because the larger account might not have built up that community, might not have their trust, might not be really part of the cannabis community at all. They might just smoke a little bit, but like, and you think, oh, they're stoners, they're part of the community, but they're not. You know, they don't contribute to anything else. They don't, you know, to any other creators or any other brands. They don't do anything else. They just smoke, and because they have followers, some of these brands are just, you know, giving them a ton of money and wasting it because it doesn't do anything for them. So as a brand, I think, you know, people in the marketing department need to start looking at the quality over quantity. And I think that's going to go a long way for them, because you can get, you know, you can get content from content creators that don't have as big of an account for way cheaper than, you know, somebody with a huge following that might not do as much for you. So instead of being able to get one influencer that has 100,000 followers, you might be able to get 10 that have 10,000 followers. And those 10 are going to do way more for you than that one. In the same way that when I talked about the network and collaborating with people, it's going to pay off to work with 10 people way more than that one person, because you're spreading yourself into all those groups. So that's just a little tip for the brands out there.
Awesome. Well, with that being said, make sure you go follow Budsbie Media. All the links will be in the description below. We appreciate taking the time to talk with us. It was great to come out here and do this. Thanks again, Tomas.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you hit the like button. And, of course, make sure you subscribe for more episodes of The CannaBiz Show. And for more content like this, you don't want to miss great and amazing guests like Tomas and Budsbie Media. Okay, Tomas, many thanks. Everyone out there, thank you.
Thanks for tuning in.
Catch you again next time. Goodbye.